It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Robin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchende. Thanks a lot for joining us. Yes, a lot of Edo State selection talk is in the air. We're watching closely. Hopefully, I know that the elections are done. We're hoping that things stay hopefully safe all through the post-election talk. And if anybody's aggrieved, like we always know, the court is available to the parties to take their case there.
The Nigerian entertainment industry is a multi-billion-dollar business, with film, music, and events and the likes bringing in the huge chunk of the money. How do we ensure that these monies and opportunities available are adequately monetized and leveraged? Do partnerships hurt or increase our chances of a bigger industry? On Robin Minds, Ebuka Obiuchende chats with media entrepreneur Fade Ogunro. Next.
A lot has been said about how much the entertainment industry has contributed to Nigeria's GDP. Music is doing a lot these days. There's a lot of crossovers happening. We're hearing names that seemed impossible to hear before associated with Nigerian music, be the Beyoncés, the Drakes, the Didis. And it shows that Nigerian music is definitely at a good place. And Nollywood, of course, is continuing to shine. Netflix is here. A lot of these streaming companies that starting to pay very close attention to the Nigerian movie industry. And it just shows you that entertainment is thriving here. And we're going to be talking about that right now. And I'm joined now by media entrepreneur Fade Ogunro. Fade, can you hear me? How are you doing?
I can hear you. I'm very well, Ebuka. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Good to see you. You, first of all, how did bookings do through COVID? Or through the lockdown?
So interesting. The lockdown, yes. Interestingly enough, revenue, of course, was down, as we know, because with the lockdown, service providers simply couldn't leave their houses to provide any service. However, sign-ups and downloads actually shot through the roof. So it goes to show that people are actually very, they're willing to be digitally adopted, and they're looking for ways to monetize their skills virtually, since they physically can't do so and they're restricted right now. So the numbers, the metrics went up in some regard, but of course revenue was low as expected.
Yeah, so I know a lot of sectors of the economy were not ready for a lockdown, especially for how long it lasted and the kind of impact it would have on business. But I feel like entertainment was one of the most hard hit. Is there a way to have prepared for something like this? And now that we know better, what sort of things should entertainers be looking at doing if something like this comes again, you think?
Do you know what? I think that is an amazing question, and I'm so glad that you asked that, Ebuka, because the main issue that I feel that we have in this part of the world is understanding the music, the business of music. So 70 to 80% of revenue for most of the artists comes from shows or brand endorsements. If you're not in that top tier where you might have brand endorsements and you're solely relying shows or, let's say, music videos, what you'd get from YouTube, for example, the revenue, you'll find that there's no other form of income. So I think moving forward, in order to mitigate this occurring again, not just musicians, I think everybody should really start looking at ways that whatever skill you have, whatever passion you have, whatever service you're able to render, you need to think of how you can translate this virtually, digitally. So what I would suggest, not to just plug in Bookings Africa, but what we're rolling out literally in a couple of weeks that would actually enable content creators as well as artists monetize themselves is something as simple as personalized greetings. So imagine you're a fan of Banky W and you want him to sing happy birthday to your wife for her birthday. Now you should be able to book him per minute or for every 5 minutes or for a 10-minute performance that's personalized to your loved one, like a birthday present or Mother's Day gift. So now they need to start thinking of ways that from the comfort of their home or hashtag work from anywhere. You can work from anywhere in the world with the beauty of a video call service. So they need to start thinking, and like I said, not just artists, everybody should start thinking of ways to monetize their current skills, services. service that they offer.
Oh, that sounds very interesting. Looking forward to that. I mean, there's people who I hopefully would like to book as well for that. But let's talk about those who are trying to get into the doorway. I mean, entertainment seems to be thriving now. Like I said, a couple of years ago, it didn't seem like the most attractive sector to be a part of. Now you have parents who actively want their children to get into the industry, but a lot of people still don't seem to understand how to get in. Do you find that it is a tough market to crack here? And how do you do that if you want to?
Absolutely. The music industry is super, super tough. I mean, everybody wants to be an artist. Recently, I had a gate man come up to me telling me he's giving me a CD or his iTunes. I should download his song on iTunes. And I was like, wow, how did you even get to record a song? And with the technologies, using your mobile phone or voice note and downloading some sample songs or you'll be amazed at what people can come up with. But in terms of breaking through mainstream, I do believe they need to, for me, once again, it's the business part of it, understanding the jobs of an agent, of a manager, understanding PR, understanding, your brand image. All of these things are what they're not educated enough about. And they just think if I can sing and I can dance, that's it. I should be the next Davido and Wizkid but it takes a lot more discipline than that. And there's a lot more that happens behind the scenes. And that's where I think there's a gap between the talent and the actual exposure or the opportunity. And of course, the way to close that, perhaps there could be some online courses, or there could be maybe even radio stations, TV stations or schools could also start to actually having some courses that teaches people, and then also engage with all the popular artist management companies that you have. Like you've got the EME, you've got Plug. So imagine like schools actually partner up with these kind of artist management companies. And then there's a good conveyor belt from the educating straight through to the talent management and the exposure and the whole distribution network and the ecosystem. I think that conveyor belt right now is very fragmented, and that's why it's not so straightforward.
Whenever people talk entertainment, most people sort of zero in on music and then movies, Nollywood. But there's a whole other sort of ecosystem that exists in entertainment in Nigeria. There's the production side, there's radio, there's TV presenting, there's modeling, there's comedy. There's a lot of these other pockets. Why do you think these other sectors of entertainment in Nigeria have not grown or do not seem to have the sort of strength that music and movies do? Why are they not growing as fast?
For me, I think as a whole, all segments of the media and entertainment industry are generally fragmented. You don't tend to have like a union for models or for videographers or for directors. Everybody's in competition with one another. Imagine if there was a cohort that had the top 10 directors or 20 directors in Nigeria and they all worked together in a variety of projects. Those kind of things just don't happen. So in terms of the information, just having, if I ask you what's the average cost of a model or what's the average cost of a videographer, you probably wouldn't know. You'd have to call about 10 or 15 different people before you can get an average kind of cost. There's no platform that gives you that transparency. And when I've obviously been in the production seat myself, I know how difficult it is to find raw talent, especially when they're outside of the Lagos hub. They might be in Enugu, they might be on Port Harcourt, and they're a fantastic model, but how will they get that opportunity to be discovered so that they can appear in the next telecoms ad or in the next FCMG ad or a multinational ad? How do they get that opportunity just from being able to sit in the comfort of their home or from anywhere without having to physically come to Lagos and look for that opportunity? You don't have that right now, and that's where Kins Africa comes in, because obviously we are trying to pioneer digital work and a digital lifestyle. So I think that the reason that people are not really paying attention to that is, one, there's lack of transparency. Two, it's just really fragmented. It's hard to source. And three, it's a competitive market. So people just don't tend to even support each other within that market.
Yeah.
So it's very layered.
I want to ask a very personal question, and it's also something I think you can also relate to about, on-air personalities, like we call them here. But speaking broadly, broadcasters, people in media who work in the media space. A lot of people have said, it's become an all-comers affair. Once you feel like you can speak some English, you want to be a presenter. And there's also the argument that may have watered down sort of the sector in itself. You were on radio, you left radio. People say, because you felt you were not making enough money, you decided to go and start your own business and do your own thing. How do we start, the money conversation in the media side of things? And do you also agree that the profession has been watered down?
I just generally believe the entertainment industry and the talent that work there are very undervalued and underpaid. That's across board, whether you're on TV, whether you're on radio, just being a crew member. So even as a producer, hiring a lights guy or an audio, the craft that they do, if you compare it to a Western counterpart, they do the exact same job, but they get a tenth of what these guys in the Western world would get on a daily basis. So we actually just undervalue the entire entertainment ecosystem as a whole. That's number one. And I mean, the money that I was making on radio monthly, I was literally giving that money and giving it to my assistant as her salary. And not that I left radio to open up my own company. I was actually doing the two simultaneously. So I was running my production company Monday to Friday, as well as working on radio Saturday to Sunday. But the things that this gives you is the platform, and you then have to know how to harness the value of the platform that you're given so that you can then monetize yourself better. However, being watered down, I think generally a lot of people just don't even do a lot of research. So if everybody was responsible for themselves, and if there was a certain base level, you have to maybe have studied journalism, not just mass comm. You have to have a certain, skill set in research. There has to be a more rigorous kind of acceptance into the broadcast system before you should be able to just go on radio and just say, I can speak English and I've got an accent, so give me a job. It shouldn't. It's definitely not that clear cut. Yeah. But I definitely think just as a whole, it will be harder to grow that economy unless the whole ecosystem, it begins to be better valued. Right now, it's definitely not that. It's more glitz and glam.
Outside of music and movies, you at Bookings Africa, what is the one sector in entertainment that's sort of a hidden gem that people don't seem to know that actually makes a lot of money?
Videographers make a lot of money. Equipment rentals make a lot of money. Location owners make a lot of money because the average location goes for about 300,000 naira for about 10 to 12 hours. And you can rent that out 5 days a week. So location owners, equipment rental owners, there's a whole ecosystem of talent that they make a lot of money. I'd definitely say videographers, photographers, makeup artists. I mean, they're all really busy, but definitely the ones that I think make the most, and stylists actually. Stylists do make a lot of money as well. But the hidden gem, I'd definitely say, are the equipment rental guys. And what's so funny, what I really love is there's a company that signed up to Bookings Africa, and he actually is an indigenous company, and he makes 3D modeling of a 3D model of the actual equipment itself. So he just laser cuts everything, and he uses local plastics, and he can recycle everything and then make like a rig or a track and trace, and he rents it out at a quarter of the price that you'd normally get the regular equipment that's been brought in from China or something. So now a lot of people are flocking to him because he can now custom make you equipment at a fraction of the price and really quickly as well. So I just thought this is genius. Not only is he helping the environment by recycling, but he's also bringing down the costs and making a lot more competitive market. And he's also creating jobs for the local people that he employs as well. So things like that are real hidden gems that I feel like we should invest more in, and their stories should actually be told a lot more because it's actually quite impressive.
That's very, very impressive to hear. Well, just quickly, when we think America, we think New York, and we think of LA, of course, where Hollywood is. So it's not just concentrated in one place. It's also, of course, Tennessee, where the country music happens. So there's pockets of where entertainment sort of is run in the United States. Outside of Lagos, what cities excite you entertainment-wise, based on, maybe sort of feedback on Bookings Africa, people who are signing up? What cities are sort of thriving that we may not, be looking at right now?
In the entertainment sector or just in media generally, I'd say
media and entertainment, yeah. Okay, Port Harcourt, yeah.
Okay. I think there's a big art scene that's actually under noticed. In Abuja, there's a huge actual graffiti artists and painters and potters, and yes, there's and photographers. There's a massive arts underground scene in Abuja that I think that is a real hidden gem that we should try to unearth. But when it comes to the more visual arts, then I'd say Enugu and PH, Port Harcourt, seem to have a lot of talent. I mean, look at Burna Boy. Port Harcourt birthed him, right? So that's just an example of the amount of talent that the city sweats.
Yeah.
So yes, I think another one actually that a few artists that have signed up from Kano. And I wasn't expecting the response from Kano to be that. Yes, it's actually quite a popular city on our platform that a lot of service providers have signed up, a lot of talent, and not just music talent, actual production talent, from your makeup artist to your clothing stylist to your designers to your hairstylist, voiceover artists even. So we do get a lot of variety of talent that sign up, and Kano has actually been a surprising one.
Okay, just before we go now, are you excited about the industry going forward in the coming years?
Oh, yes. I think Africa as a whole, we are just rising as a continent. I know the whole world has been looking at us now, but I think all we need to do is just really get structure in place. And the potential for us is inexplicable. We are the youngest demographic. We are the youngest workforce in the entire continent. So if we can harness the value of that, what we can create is really just... You can't even describe it. We literally have the ability to impact the entire globe. But I think what we're lacking right now is structure. So I'd just like to encourage everyone, no matter what sector you're in, I do believe the music sector, the entertainment sector, the media, the movie sector, even the art scene, photographers, painters, artisans, the potters, I do believe that a lot of that industry is really, really going to grow tenfold. But I do think the rate that they'll be able to scale is through structure. And of course, imagine if we then have a second wave of the COVID-19 and we're then on lockdown. All these people, everyone is going to need to find a way to monetize themselves digitally. And that's really the takeaway that I want people to get right now, that it's not just the music industry that's going to be affected if there's another wave. Just everybody should just be thinking about not only should you be able to deliver your service physically, but you should always think of how you can now do it virtually as well. And if all the entertainment sector can handle that and can actually achieve that, then I think the world really is your oyster, because you'll be making money at the tap of a button.
Yeah.
Anywhere you are.
This structure conversation, sorry, I know I said that was the last one, but this just came to me. We talk about this structure conversation a lot, but there's also a lot of people who want to come into the industry, and we find a lot of people who have been in the industry sort of moving on to other things. They try out music for 2-3 years, it doesn't work, they move on. They try out radio or TV presenting for a few years, it doesn't work, they move on to a banking job. Do you encourage someone who's trying to get into the industry to do so today, considering the fact that there's no structure, like you said? Is there enough money to be made?
Depends on what your idea or definition of success is, For some people, that's a comfortable enough lifestyle, and that's fine for them. But in terms of encouraging people, I'll let them know that it's not a sustainable career if that's all you're going to do. I'd always ask people to diversify. It's always great to have multiple streams of income, especially in the society and the economy that we're in right now. If you are delving into media, I normally say you're going to have 3 to 5 strong years. After that, things are going to start looking a bit shaky, because you just got to think about the population that we have, the amount of competition that you're going to have every year. the new workforce, younger generation, more exposed, more the digital natives. So the competition is going to be a lot more. And of course, because of the GDP, the economy, the rate of inflation, you're actually not going to get a pay rise. So you can literally be working for 5 years and be on the exact same pay. Nobody who wants that. So unless you're willing to accept that, then yes, by all means, delve into that industry. But if you want something that, whatever makes your soul happy, I'd always be an advocate for you to chase that. But if you're really trying to have a sustainable career, you're going to get married, you're going to have kids, you want to get a bigger house, then, like I said, it's always good to think of another form of income and multiple streams of income, and utilizing the media platform as almost like a springboard to project yourself into the future of what you really are trying to achieve. Just like you did, Ibuka. You're the king of that. You use the platform to springboard the rest of the decade-long of your career. And it's a perfect example. You were very smart in doing so and extremely strategic. And people will not realize the strategy behind it. A lot of people might just think, oh, he just fell into it. But you have to be intentional about these things. And those stories are not told enough. So a lot of people don't have any direction as to how to diversify or pivot when things aren't going the way they planned.
All right, I paid Fadi to say that, just so that you know. No, I didn't. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Fadi, for joining us from bookingsafrica.com. Thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, we're going to take a break now and be right back. Please don't go away.